Hey, boom, 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 boom. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Saturday, October the 12th, and welcome to this ibüümerang chat. My ibüümerang brother, Rudy, is not with us today. He had a prior commitment doing some training. A shout out to Rudy. We miss you. We love you. We know you'll be back tomorrow, but I also know you'll be watching this a little bit later on. So a big shout out to you. So welcome to everyone. You know, we talked about this weekend, Rudy and I did, and where we go next. And the weekend is here. So the question is, what are your goals for next week? Do you realize that next week, two critical things happen? One, it's the third week of October, and two, the month is halfway over. We're getting closer to the end of 2019. So it's time to really start thinking about 2020. So today, what I would like to do is share with you a story. Storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to do leadership, but it's also one of the most powerful ways to stay unstuck. All of us have a story. And that story, when you share your own personal story, that story is what keeps you motivated and what helps to keep you unstuck. Now, this story is one that I use frequently in the training that I do, and it's just one that is so incredibly powerful to me. And I call the story The Extra Mile. And so when thinking of going the extra mile, I immediately am reminded of a young man who influences me still to today. In sharing his story, you may have heard of his accomplishments, but may not realize the extra mile he journeyed with his father. You see, he was an only child, and the young man's dad migrated from Japan to the United States when his dad was only 18 years of age. And they settled up in the northwest of the U.S. And so by arriving in a country such as the U.S., his dad thought that there would be endless opportunity here for him. And he thought he would become an accountant. But instead, his dad became a hairdresser. Now, he became a celebrated hairdresser and was invited to many parties and many red carpet events. And even with his renowned status, the dad struggled learning the English language. So the young man was really at a disadvantage here because his dad didn't know English and he was trying to learn English in his home country. The young man's parents divorced when he was an infant, and he has had little contact with his mother since then. So finding it difficult to raise a child without a mom, and as hairdressers do, work 12-hour days, the dad enrolled his son in many activities. At the age of 6, the son was involved in competitive swimming and quad speed roller skating. But during his middle school years, the young man began hanging out with high school juniors and seniors. Now, these street gang kids, as they were known, stole cars and did drugs. The young man never really participated in that. He just hung out and was influenced by them. But at the age of 12, he was the state champion swimmer in the 100-meter breaststroke and later became the national champion inline skater. So after viewing short track speed skating during the Winter Olympics, he became quite interested. And capitalizing on this interest, the dad began driving him to competitions throughout the U.S. and Canada, going that extra mile, literally. However, so when he did this, he believed in his son so much that the dad got him admitted to the Lake Placid Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, New York. Now, they were in Northwest U.S. up in Washington State, across the entire country, that extra mile. He got him enrolled and admitted to the Lake Placid Olympic Training Center. However, when his dad dropped him off at the airport, waited until his dad left, called a friend, and asked his friend to come pick him up. It was several weeks before his dad realized what his son had done. But he still wasn't giving up on his son. The two traveled from Washington State to Lake Placid, New York, to the training center. It was while he was at camp he found his passion. A few years later, exhausted from training and competition, he took a 3-month break and decided not to exercise and just eat junk food. He does participate in the qualifying Olympic time trials, but he failed to qualify. So his dad tells him, "You've got a decision to make. The journey is now yours. You decide." So he decided to return to the training center. And immediately his teammates saw that he was overweight and out of shape, and they nicknamed him Chunky. That was his motivation to train harder. Today, Apollo Ono still holds the record for the most medals in short track speed skating and is one of the most celebrated U.S. Olympiads ever. He also won Dancing with the Stars, and his father is still his biggest supporter. Now, I have never met Apollo Ono and his dad, but I intend to, because their story is one that resonates on so many levels. Imagine where Apollo Ono would be, and imagine what had happened if his dad had not gone that extra mile and did not show his son the benefits of journeying that extra mile. And it was when his dad told him, "This is now your journey, you decide," that Apollo Ono decided to go the extra mile. So let's just think about that and think about, there were so many opportunities in the story for Apollo to get stuck. He even tried to stick himself when he called his friend at the airport and said, "You know what, come get me, I don't want to do this." But then he got there and he loved it. But then he came home and he got lazy and got fat and went back and realized what had happened, and that became his motivation. So when I thought about that, I went back to, again, one of my favorite books, The Four Agreements. And the fourth agreement in this book is really one of the most powerful ones. And it is always do your best. With Apollo's story, he did not always do his best, but he became one of the very best in what he did. So I want to share with you a little bit about doing your best and what the book says about it. It says, doing your best, you are going to live your life intensely. You are going to be productive. You are going to be good to yourself, because you will be giving yourself to your family, to your community, to everything. But it is the action that is going to make you feel intensely happy. When you always do your best, you take action. Doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward, and they don't enjoy the action. And that's the reason why they don't do their best. For example, most people go to work every day just thinking of payday and the money they will get from the work they are doing. They can hardly wait for Friday or Saturday, whatever day they receive their money, and can take time off. They are working for reward. As a result, they resist work. They try to avoid the action, and it becomes more difficult, and then they don't do their best. So you see, really what it's about, doing your best is an internal thing. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it because you know giving your best and doing your best gets the best rewards. In network marketing, which we're part of, we've got ranks. We've got rewards you can go, free trips you can get, but Holton Buggs, our CEO with ibüümerang, really talks about the real reward is getting out of debt and living a debt-free life. And not only mean monetarily debt, but also if you owe someone because they did something for you. You need to become the best person you can be. Flip over another page or so, and this I think is real powerful. It reads, if you take action because you have to, then there is no way you're going to do your best. then it is better not to do it. Let me read that again. If you take action because you have to, then there is no way you're going to do your best. It is better not to do it. So if you're doing it because you have to, it's better not to do it. You're going to do it because you want to and you deserve to. You do your best because doing your best all the time makes you happy. When you're doing your best just for the pleasure of doing it, you are taking action because you enjoy the action. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way we deny life. Again, action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is just going through the motions. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you're afraid to be alive and to take the risk of expressing who you are and what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, no reward. A good example of this comes from the story about Forrest Gump. He didn't have great ideas, but he took action. He was happy because he always did his best at whatever he did. He was richly rewarded without expecting any reward at all. Taking action is being alive. It's taking the risk to go out and express your dream. This is different than imposing your dream on someone else, because everyone has the right to express his or her dream. Apollo Ono's dad had a dream for Apollo. He wanted his son to be the very best he could be, to find his passion and to reach his potential. Still to this day, I see a lot of social media posts and things that Apollo does with he and his dad. And they're still extremely close. They eat out together. They spend time together. And it's almost an affirmation and a result of saying, thank you, Dad, for not giving up on me. Thank you, Dad, for going that extra mile. And thank you, Dad, for instilling in me the motivation for me to go that extra mile. So, it's really all about that. I see Jolanda and Peggy Simpson both on the call here. Hey to both of you guys. They're right there. Those are two people, Jolanda George and Peggy Simpson, both, who always go the extra mile. They do it for their family, but they do it for their family because they're doing it for themselves. Remember, if you're doing it because you just have to go out there and do it, you're better off not doing it because you're not doing your best. I was in a network marketing group one time, and I was talking to one of the owners, and he was doing some leadership training with me and some alchemy training. And he said, if you could have any car in the world, what car would you have? And I quickly said, I wouldn't have one. And he said, what? He said, I wouldn't have one. I said, if I'm doing my best, then I'm traveling, I'm living somewhere where I don't need a car. I'm living somewhere where I have resources available to me to take care of that. And he had a hard time understanding that. But for me, that was my definition of my future self doing my best. I got to the level where I needed to get to where I didn't need a car. Maybe I'm in New York, maybe I'm in Europe, London, who knows where I am, where they have mass transportation. Maybe I'm taking Vibride everywhere I go. That would be really cool. And that launches the first weekend in December in Miami, guys. So keep your eyes and ears open to Vibride. But think about going that extra mile. And to find that extra mile is always, always doing your best. Now, this training that we did today, this little bit of personal development, that's at the core of what we do in ibüümerang. We have numerous opportunities throughout the week to be trained by people who charge thousands upon thousands of dollars for a single hour's worth of training. We had 2 hours of training this morning, absolutely free, by people who who charge those type of dollars for training. It's just part of who we are. It's part of this brotherhood, sisterhood that we have developed. And you can be part of that too. If you want to learn more about ibüümerang and what we do and who we are in this family that we have connected here, then in the comments, either in my comments here on Facebook or on YouTube, or the person who's sharing this with you, just type in, tell me more. 3 little words, tell me more. And they will send you information about how you too can be part of this. If you want to see our technology, if you want to have a free gift in an ibüümerang, and that free gift will guarantee you to save you money on travel, on wine, on golfing, on activities coming soon, on your cell phone bill, and on Vibrite, just type the letter ME. If you don't think this for real, let me just share something with you. And it was on our training this morning. I'm going to New York in a couple of weeks. I'm staying 3 nights at a Hilton DoubleTree hotel in the financial district. Those 3 nights, thanks to our platform, I am saving $276. That's right, $276. Imagine what I can do with $276 in New York. I may not come back. But go out there and see, because that's just one part of what we are. That's just like the top grain of salt in the salt shaker. That's just the tip of what we're doing. Guys, it's been my pleasure to be part of you today. Go out, fantastic Saturday. Come back tomorrow. My brother Rudy will be with me. We're going to continue this, but I want to challenge you between now and when we get on the call tomorrow. Think about how often do you go that extra mile? And are you committed to going that extra mile from this moment forward throughout the end of 2019 so your 2020 can be the best year yet? Boom to everyone out there. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.